Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am here today to bring you the Take 5 Art February Challenge for 2020. The prompts this month were chosen by the lovely Leanne from Creatively Free to Be Me. Check her out on Instagram, and she has a YouTube channel. I loved the prompts she chose this time round, and here they are just on the top right hand side for you. The first of the prompts is cards, and what I'm doing here is I'm just showing you that I've got some paper pads. Like once you're done with paper pads, I always keep the chipboard, the top and the bottom. They're actually quite good for master boards, and I'll tell you in a minute what master boards are. The other thing you can use are the front and back covers of 12 by 12 scrapbooking pads. These work really well as well. So I decided, as soon as I saw this prompt, I decided that I was going to do a masterboard. And a masterboard is just basically collaging a whole lot of papers onto a sturdy background, and then cutting up that piece of paper for whatever you might need, whether it's tags or postcards or ATCs. So prompt number 2 is scraps, and perfect. I have a whole lot of scraps here from recent projects, so I've gathered them up and I've just got them here, along with a few extras like some cut aparts and some book pages. Number 3 is tabs, and I have tab die cuts. They come from this pack, which is a Kaiser Craft brand, and I always use these tabs. These are my go-tos. Number 3 is photography. I'm showing you here some pictures. I don't actually use any of these, and I end up taking a picture later that day, which is perfect for the color scheme of my masterboard. And lastly, the last prompt is stars, and I have some stars here, 2 types, which I will use both of, both from a Kaiser Craft stamp set. So let's get started with the creation of this masterboard. So as with my usual way of crafting, I always make 2 or 3 things. Once I get everything out, I usually find that it's easier to make multiples of the same project, maybe in 2 different forms. So I've got all my scraps on the side there on the left hand side, and what I'm doing is going through my scraps and I'm organizing them in color scheme. So on the right hand side, I picked all the colors that are sort of pinkish, and then I've got my neutrals like blacks and like doily and book pages. And on the left hand side, I've got all my and it ended up being yellows and kind of floral, because it came from a Kaiser Craft pack. Can't remember the name of it now. It was a collection from 2019 that was like all yellows and all floral, and it was really beautiful. One of my favorite collections from Kaiser Craft last year. I just had a whole lot of little papers left over, and so I just ended up cutting them into scraps and then using them for this masterboard, which was perfect. So after showing you the big picture of what I was doing, which is making 2 different master boards, I just wanted to concentrate on this one, which we were using for the Take 5 Art Challenge. After I put everything on, like in general where everything was going to be, I then took everything off and then glued them down. Sometimes they didn't go where I wanted them to go, but that's all right. It's just getting used to the feel of your project and where things go nicely. So here on this masterboard, this was a very light masterboard, like vintage and florals and a little bit of yellow, a little bit of brown. I really love the top left hand side and the bottom right hand side. Those were my favorite. And yeah, it's just like a jigsaw puzzle. I love jigsaws. I always have, always will. And so that's why it's a no-brainer that I love mosaic kind of stuff and masterboards. And any puzzle really kind of just really challenges me and gives me something to work towards. So all I'm doing is just finding pieces or creating pieces that fit into areas that are just the plain white, and choosing muted colors allows me to pretty much use anything anywhere. It's really good. And I'm just using glue stick. I don't mind. The final project is going to be a dashboard in my planner, so I'm not really worried about acid-free glue or that scrapbooking, it has to last forever and ever. It's just going to go into my planner, which is going to get smashed around in my bag and wherever I take it this whole year, and perhaps beyond if I decide to keep the artwork. I'm just showing you really quickly here. This is how the pink one turns out. This one is beautiful, and I'm actually using this one for a separate group called the Nina Ribena Mixed Media Emporium. Next, what I'm doing, this is not part of the prompts, but it's kind of my process of integrating and blending things together. I'm adding just a little bit of Distress Stain. Don't like the colors that I use here, so I move on to the Vicki Boutin acrylic paints. I first use the Toasted Marshmallow, but I feel like it's a little bit too dark here, so then I go on to the Sweet Buttercream and the Vanilla Frosting, which is like a peach and a white. And I love putting the white through. It just kind of mutes back the color, takes off the edges, which is really weird. Once you add the buttercream around the edges to make it darker, then you add the white on top to make it lighter. But it's all a process of layering, and it makes you feel good while you're doing it. So I know it sounds crazy, but that's just the way I do it. So next is I have to choose my photos. So this is later on in the day. I decided that the photos that I had chosen earlier did not go well with the colors of this masterboard. And so I took this picture of my yoga mat outside in my backyard. So what I'm doing first before I cut the masterboard is I'm trying to decide whether I like it more on the left hand side or the right hand side, and I decide that I like the right hand side better. And so I ended up using the right hand side and cutting to measure the dividers in my planner. Then all I have to do is just add holes on the left hand side there using my Crop-A-Dile. And now it's time to add the photos and the tabs. And I'm just looking through here. I've already cut a whole heap of tabs from scraps, and I'm looking, and I find this perfect one, and it has stars on it, which is one of the prompts, which is amazing. I love how that works. So I have to choose that one. So this tab uses the tab prompt plus the star prompt, but I do add some stars later on, but I just love how that works. It's like some things are meant to be. So then what I'm doing now is I'm going back to one of the prompts and grabbing some more scraps, and I'm just layering some scraps behind the photograph, trying to get rid of the scraps and just creating more of a layered look, which I totally love. I find this section here of scraps and I just can't bear myself to rip it up, so I end up fussy cutting it. And yes, I am a fussy cutting person. I love fussy cutting. The look is so beautiful. The scissors are the most important thing for fussy cutting. These are my cutter bees, I think they're called. And I love what I did here, which is popping the photograph underneath the leaf and the flower. I added a second tab, believe it or not, so making double use of the prompt and trying to get rid of my stash. And I'm just layering everything underneath, and I just love how this looks. It feels like I am on my yoga mat right now with all the flowers and the shade coming in on top of me, shading me, and creating that beautiful feeling of bliss and contentment. So I ended up calling this piece of art, or this planner dashboard, Bliss. And I'm just bringing in some stickers here, adding some stickers where it feels like it's a little bit empty. And I added a sticker tab at the top there, and more bliss. And coming in now with my final prompt, which is the stars. I am adding stars using the archival black ink. I don't mind. I used both the different stars there. I like the black. It kind of creates a contrast between the vintage in the background and the starkness of the black ink in the stars. So just like that, I've created my planner dashboard for February, which is amazing. And I think what I'm doing now is I am going to perhaps make it so that my Take 5 arts are going to be my dashboards every month. I had never planned that, but that's just how it happened for January, and it's happened again for February. So yay for mixed media planner dashboards. So as always, don't forget to check out what the other girls have done. Go to their Instagrams and their YouTube channels, show them some love. And as always, if you are interested in joining along, go ahead and tag us on Instagram using the hashtag Take5Art. We will come and have a look and cheer you and say hello all the way. Thank you so much for joining me, everybody, and I'll see you in my next video.